Hey everyone, this is Sam from SaberiSixRealEstate and Remax, along with my colleague
Ali, broker with Remax. Hello, everyone. How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing great. Ali,
Fantastic.
they can find our contact information in the description box if you have
Yes.
any questions. As well, feel free to subscribe, comment, like, and review if you like it. If you don't, actually dislike it and give us a bad review. We're always open to feedback. So this is the Above Asking podcast. We discuss real estate matters as it relates to Toronto, general real estate advice. Wherever you live, you can apply it to your home or buying, however you're involved with the market, or if you're just interested. And sometimes we talk about business news that doesn't even relate to real estate. And most often we talk about food. Usually the conversations goes to food and the handsomeness of this man. But anyway,
Handsome Sam, come on now.
no,
Compliment coming from you.
thank you. But so in today's episode, we're going to talk about some news items that we should probably talk about. First off, open houses, no more. Once again, if you're watching this, this is being recorded on October 19th, 2020. It's probably going to be out by the 23rd or 24th. But open houses are no more. They've been canceled
Across Ontario.
across Ontario. So we have already dealt with this once, beginning earlier in the pandemic, where open houses were canceled and came back with new restrictions, which we've discussed in previous episodes. So feel free to go watch those. But even the restrictions, they deemed not enough, and since the cases are going up, they've decided to cancel it. So before I get into my opinion, what do you think? What are your reflections on this?
Well, I understand why they're doing it. I don't know if I necessarily agree because the restrictions were, the rules surrounding open houses were pretty strict to begin with. Like, there's only about 4 to 5 people permitted at a time. Usually it was a household. And if there's only, two per household, then we'd have maybe 2 households inside the property. You wear a glove. We'd actually take people's temperature. They'd sign a COVID form, a disclosure form, hand sanitize, and all of that. So most of the elements towards keeping safe were already in place, and it's not like the open houses were being crowded by 20, 30 people. But I understand. Now, I didn't do many open houses this year, actually. Even when the open houses were permitted, I only did one open house the entire time. So it's not like it's affecting my business that much. So I'm kind of indifferent about it. I don't really care.
Just to clarify, open houses are not meant for every property type, right? So
No.
you can be just to inform the people though, because they might hear you say you've only done one, and they might think, well, is he not successful? No, I'm saying you could truly be a very successful realtor and only conduct 1 to 2 open houses a year, because most houses you work with are older bungalows. Condominiums don't
Right.
typically have open houses. Even newly built properties, which I would say fit the portfolio of open houses, maybe that even pre-pandemic, you're working with owners who are not okay with open houses in a harder market. You don't really need it. It's honestly, if it's priced well and if it's promoted well, necessarily it will help, obviously, but it's not a must. But just to
I
clarify for
appreciate you
people,
clarifying that.
yeah.
And actually, something that generally that I don't do with listings that I have, with condos that generally don't have any open houses at all.
Well, condos are very difficult to
Yeah,
have open
because you need
houses.
somebody downstairs to open a door for people that want to come in, and you need another person upstairs. So it's not really logistically, it's a bit difficult to manage. Now, with other properties, sorry,
You're getting emotional.
yes,
It's
this
okay,
this
buddy.
has touched my heart.
It's okay.
Sorry. So with other properties, the first 2 weeks actually, I don't do open houses. Because usually it's nosy neighbors that just come around. Now, open houses are great for an agent to prospect and find new clients or talk with the neighbors that are just snooping around, wanting to see what the listing's like, what the interior's like, what the asking price is, so they can go back and compare it to their property and then say, yeah, of course, their property is worth more, which is usually what people think. So in order to get the property sold, I don't generally do open houses because I think most people that are serious about buying the property want a private showing, a private appointment, so they can go through it with their agents, or they'll call the listing agent directly and they'll say, can we schedule a private viewing so we can go through the property, because that's what generally serious buyers are interested in. So to have an open house the first 2 weeks, just have the nosy neighbors coming through and checking the property and doing this and that, it's just it's not conducive, because you're also taking away time from agents that are actually trying to book the property and see the property with their clients, and they want to do it. They want to have a private viewing. It's taking time away from those guys as well. So the first 2 weeks, if I know the property is going to sit for a bit or might be a bit more difficult to sell, the first 2 weeks I don't do an open house. I'll let the property be on the market and agents can book their appointments. And then if it doesn't sell, then after that, I'll start doing open houses, because I find that after that, the people that are actually coming to the open house are serious about that property.
And I agree. Frankly, never sold a property through open house. Never done an open house for another realtor who sold a property through me, or that I know of. Obviously, it happens. I know for a fact it does happen. But yeah, open houses are typically better for not even necessarily advertising yourself, although they can accomplish that, but just advertising the presence of a listed property within the community.
Right.
But yeah, so besides our own opinions on open houses, so you were saying earlier that the restrictions on the open house limitation or the ban now, you were saying previous restrictions were not liberal at all, right? They were like pretty strict.
They were pretty strict to begin with, surrounding open houses. So, and most of they're concerned, the government's concerned about large group gatherings. That's why restaurants they're no longer permitting dine-ins. Gyms are now closed because that's 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 people plus, right, in these establishments. Open houses, if the agent has half a brain, then he'll limit it down to 2 to 5 people inside the property, right? And the open house that I conducted during the pandemic, we had people waiting outside. I said, sorry, we have 3 people inside, 4 people inside right now. You have to wait. And it actually worked out to our benefit, because there's more people waiting outside and just created a little bit more hype for that specific property. But, if the agent has half a brain, they'll manage it and they'll limit the number of people inside to maximum 5. So that's why I don't think it was necessary, but I understand it.
So let me touch on this. The reason I personally think that Treb and Oreo have deemed it such that open houses should be banned is not because they are placating to us, me and you, or other real estate agents. They're placating to the lowest of the low of real estate agents who, as you previously said, I think don't have a half a brain. So they're looking at it as such. We don't want to take the risk for, I wish I could say a couple of bad apples, but there's a lot of, not even bad apples, but just stupid apples out there that kind of bring down the perception of realtors. And I don't know if you're familiar with this story, and I think this story was really not the crux, but not even I won't even say it was the catalyst or the crux, whatever C word, but but I think it really motivated them to rethink the open houses. Was the most recent story of and I don't know if you know about this, the real estate agent who conducted the open house when the property was tenanted and the tenant was sick. And have you heard of this story?
Yeah.
And the tenant was so sick that he put a sign on the bedroom during the open house saying, "Hey, please do not knock or come in. I am sick."
This was somewhere in the beaches there, if I'm not mistaken.
And the realtor conducted that open house knowing full well that there was a sick tenant in there, and apparently 1 or 2 cases have been traced to that open house. Right? You didn't know about that part, did you?
No, I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
But that's just like, that's negligent and stupid on the part of the agent. And that agent should be fired. I think they should just remove his license.
That agent, no. I mean, he should definitely face some punishment. Now, removing his license, maybe he's just younger agent made a dumb mistake.
No,
I don't know
think
about
he was
that.
a broker of record, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my God, was he really?
I think so. It was a smaller brokerage. You know, the reason why I say that, I'm not saying he should lose his license specifically for this incident. I'm thinking that if this guy's stupid enough and negligent enough and careless enough that he is still hosting an open house when he knows there's a sick tenant inside, then God knows what this guy is, what else he's willing to do and what else he has done. And so I'm just saying, speaking of bad apples, you've caught one.
Yeah.
There could be a list of other
things
that he's done. Just let's cut this guy loose.
Look, I think
I'm pretty harsh, but that's, you know.
I think it makes him look so bad. And honestly, I don't understand why the owner would be okay with it either. Now, for all we know, the owner is a foreign investor and he's not even really, like, you know, at arm's basis with his property. But at the same time, it's just, I think those stories, they're trying to get in front of those stories where it doesn't occur anymore. And obviously, the cases are going up and that has something to do with it as well. So I frankly feel that I'm okay with it. It doesn't, in my opinion, affect property sales at all.
You're okay with banning the open houses?
For now, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they really impact.
Yeah, they don't really impact it. They don't impact it at all, I would say, because when the market is hot and the commodity is priced well, you know, it will sell. And I made a recent video about this on my own channel, and this is a system I have myself. Maybe I borrowed it from the 4 P's of marketing. Are you familiar with the 4 P's of marketing?
Pricing, placement, product, and promotion.
Yes, price. It's a pricing, place, product, and promotion. But placement.
Yeah.
So I made the 5 P's, right? Where I said pricing, obviously, place, placement. I'll explain that difference if you want. Pricing, place, placement, position, and promotion, right? So quickly put, pricing is pricing, right? I said place is the area. Placement, I just wanted to say timing, the right time to jump into the market. You have to time it well. So I just said placement within the time in line, right?
Okay.
And obviously I said the position. So what kind of position are you occupying with the market? Like if you have a house, what is the portfolio of a particular buyer? What need is this property feeding, right? If it's an older detached bungalow, not to say you can't sell it to an end user, but in certain areas, the position you're occupying is for investors, right? Or builders, right? So position in the market. And then I said promotion. If you have all the other 4 P's, in my opinion, promotion is the least important one. If you're priced well, if it's the right place, if it's the right time, and you have the right position, promotion is obviously important, right? You can't go without it. But you can dress up the property all you want with the nicest pictures, flyers, internet marketing. If it's not priced well, if it's not positioned well, if it's not the right time, and if the area is shit, then you're going to have a hard time. And this is all just to say in a long-winded way that open houses, I feel fall into that, where I think promotion in a hot market is not as important as it is in a more balanced market, or
right.
You know,
and once again, that promotion, specifically open houses, usually benefits the realtor in that area because he gets to speak with more homeowners and perhaps make more connections and perhaps pick up more listings in that area. Yeah. That's really, I don't want to say that it's self-promotion, but it certainly aids in the self-promotion of the agents. But, you know, the other 3 P's, I agree with you. You know, I studied marketing, so those 4 P's were bombarded into our heads in every, you know, business plan and marketing plan we put together. We had to go over the 4 P's and put together strategy for whatever product or service it was. But the number one thing I would say in those 4 P's is once again, pricing.
I had 5, but yeah.
Yeah, high 5.
I had 5 P's. I said
you had 5. So,
I borrowed it from 4 P's, but I get what you say.
I'm sticking
pricing. Pricing is the most important thing, and this is actually, it's very obvious advice, and I always known it, but my mentor here put it in very fine words. My leader in life put it
Leader in life.
put it in really fine words, and he said to me the other day, best promotion is pricing, and I agree with that. If a commodity is priced well, people will come, and
Right.
sometimes that's the challenge in our industry is, really communicating to owners what the right pricing is when they have other expectations, and it's understandable. But
Right.
we've discussed this in the past. So that's the. Do you have any last words on the open house?
No, it is what it is. It's only 28 days, and really we're getting into the colder winter months where, it's not winter yet, but we're getting there, and usually there isn't a whole lot of open houses, anyways, during the winter months. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to affect business much. So it is what it is.
Moving on. So third quarter stats and trends, right? And I have this up. So excuse me if you're watching this and I'm looking at my laptop screen.
Sorry, I
Your
just had to clear my
coughs
throat.
have me a little
I
bit
don't have
nervous.
COVID, don't worry.
So this is about, we have third quarter stats for market rent and third quarter stats for prices. So which one would you like to start with first?
Prices.
Prices, of course.
Prices.
So all property types year to year in the third quarter of 2020 were up, right? So, and, two property types greatly outpaced the other. Now, I know the outpaced one, I think and I know before even reading this, but obviously condominiums, right? They are continuing to show great stagnation while detached properties are accelerating more and more, right? So year over year, third quarter to third quarter, the median price of a condo grew 4.9% to $644.
The median?
Yeah, the median. Okay. Grew 4.9% to $644,000, right?
You know what the mean and mode are?
Yeah. What are the most occurring and the average?
I know, I was just referring to that.
What do you mean?
Did you pull the numbers?
Oh, of these?
I'm pulling them.
No.
Of course I know what they are.
So two-story homes rose 1.5% year over year, right, to hit a new median of 1.4, right? But quarter to quarter, everything is up except condos. So
surprise.
This is not year to year. This is quarter to quarter. Keep that in mind, right? So let's look at it. Quarter over quarter, condo prices actually dipped. The only housing type to do so between quarter two and quarter three by about negligible, very, very negligible, 0.3%.
0.3%. Okay.
That's not even 0.5%. But just these are the first, leak. This is the first moisture on the wall where you might have a leakage.
That's the condensation you want to say.
The first sign of a chink in the armor, as they say. So, what do you think?
What? Chink in the armor, said?
It's an expression, chink in the armor.
Oh.
What did you think I said?
I thought I heard chicken and the arm or something. I was like,
chicken in the arm. Anyways.
Sorry, I just got something stuck in my throat.
It's okay.
To clear my throat, but
so, as I distance myself a bit further,
come closer.
So,
no, it's not a surprise. We've been saying this for literally like the past month and a half, if not longer, and I think it's just a starting point. We'll see what Q4 brings, but I think that the prices will dip a little bit more, and we'll continue to see that for the next little bit. Just based on my own analysis that I've done, I've noticed for 1 bedroom, 1 bath condos in C1, they've dipped, and I'm waiting for October numbers to come down to see if they've dipped even further. But I've noticed a trend from May until September that on average in C1 1 bedroom 1 bath condos without parking dropped about 40,000, 30 to 40,000.
Wow.
Right, that's the average price. So I think October it'll probably dip a little bit further, and that's just based on my own analysis. I've literally taken the raw data and I've calculated averages and all of that stuff for all condo types, like studios, one plus dens, 2 bedrooms, etc., with parking, without parking, 2 bathrooms, 1 bathroom, blah 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 blah. So I have that entire thing, and just looking at 1 bedrooms, 1 bath, with 0 parking, I noticed the price is about down 40,000.
And interesting enough, in the month of September, towards the end of the month, condo listings, right? Listings, downtown core, were up 215%.
No, it's not 215%.
According to this article that I got my numbers from, yes, and condo listings within the downtown core at the end of September.
At the end of September?
Yeah.
New listings or active listings?
It might be new listings.
Active listings I saw was up 134%.
134%?
Yes.
So it might be
New listings were up 97%, based on the numbers that I ran.
134 plus, so maybe they're adding the new listings and active listings, which wouldn't make sense. But
no, that wouldn't make sense.
But according to the data that I got from this article, which they got their data from Royal Lepage report.
Yeah.
It's actually Lepage, but
it's Lepage?
Well, my girlfriend, for instance, she speaks French, and she says it's funny how everyone says Lepage, but because it's actually Lepage. But yeah, I guess it's how we say it.
We're in Canada.
Well, Canada
Toronto,
speaks French.
Toronto.
Yeah, but
Le Anglais.
So as I was saying, well, whatever the percentage is clearly a great increase. And for instance, the condo I have for sale downtown, we have to relist it. With price deduction, right? We haven't hasn't come on the market yet. We're about to do the paperwork for it after I leave here. But we relisted it, and hopefully we get more people in the door. We get more offers on the table. Yeah. Another condo I have for rent, which rent prices have also dipped as well, which we can maybe touch on after the break. But quickly put, we ended up renting it out just yesterday. We signed the agreement and all that. We were asking for, now this is, in my opinion, kind of a ridiculous asking price, $2,250, right? Furnished.
What was it?
North Richville.
No, I know, but what was how many bedrooms?
1 bedroom, 1 washroom, 1 bedroom, 1 washroom plus den. It's one of those dens where it's not really a den.
So like a nuke.
It's like where you put the kids' toys. Yeah, whatever you call it. So it was at 9608 Yonge Street, and that condo, and we were listed for $2,250. We ended up renting it for $1,925, right? Because we were renting it furnished. That was a furnished price. Right?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, but even for an unfurnished price, this is still a $325 decrease. Mm-hmm. And by the way, the listing price I knew was high, but that's what our client wanted. Right. But
and they got a rude awakening.
They did, but with tenancy is a bit different. It's not always a price thing.
Right.
It's the quality of the tenant. I'm sure if we stayed on the market, we would have gotten something for $2,000. Mm-hmm. But the tenant, in this case, I want to say it was a good tenant. It's kind of a long story here. This tenant happened to know the owner, so there was a lot of trust
between them.
But when I looked at the documents, there was very highly suspicious documents where maybe we'll get into this after the break, but for now we'll take a break. We'll be right back, and
after these messages,
after probably an advertisement on my listing, but okay, we'll be right back.
Okay.
Anyways, we're back from the break. Quick story: I have a condo for rent. Condo prices are struggling for rent and purchase and sale. As I said previously before the break, we were asking for $2,250. We ended up actually giving it away for $1,925, or I don't know why I said it in such a weird way, $1,925. And what was happening is I got an offer for this condo, and I looked at the offer. I looked at the employment letter and the credit report, because that's, when I screen tenants, I screen them pretty thoroughly, and I need more than that even. Sometimes I need the banking statements, references here and there, sure, but other stuff. But the main thing is the employment letter and the credit report. The credit report was okay. I look at the employment letter, right? And the employment letter is highly suspect, because the place of employment. Now, maybe you're familiar with this place. You know Chef Burger?
No.
Chef Burger is a burger place, a burger restaurant, and it's right for the locals. It's actually in South Richfield by Westwood. It's Yonge and it's north of Yonge and High Tech.
Yeah. I've driven by there. I've never dined.
So let me tell you this, right? I used to work at Chef Burger when I was younger, obviously, as a summer job.
Nice.
Around 16.
So you're pro at burgers.
And I was paid an illegal wage. I was paid $8 an hour when the minimum was. I was paid $8 an hour when the minimum was around 11. But I was stupid. I was getting all cash. I wasn't complaining.
Well, I mean, it's about the same, really.
I was not. At 16, you're paying taxes, and you're counting those $3 like differences. You know, I'd rather been paid a minimum wage in check than cash. But okay. So point being, I have experience, and I still go back. I know the owner. Like, he gave me my first job, summer job, and friendly with him. So I get this employment letter. It says, and this individual works at this Chef Burger. She makes $4,100 a month. Mm-hmm. There's absolutely no way a single soul does or has ever made $4,100 on a monthly basis in that restaurant, and that includes the owner. There's no way.
That's $4,800. That's $48,000 a year.
There's no way. I mean, okay, I'm being
the owner's not clearing $48,000.
I'm exaggerating. I'm saying there's no way anyone makes $48,000 at that establishment. Absolutely. There's like 7 people working there, all newcomers. Nothing wrong with that, but no tips. Trust me, my people don't necessarily tip.
My people.
Yeah, they don't tip. There's no way. So
I'm talking about the Saberi family.
No, I'm talking about Persian people. But
that's not entirely true. I tip here and there.
Well, first off, we do, but we're more westernized. We're still more westernized.
Okay. Anyways, go on with these stories.
So I look at this employment letter. I look at this employment letter, and I call my client and I say, well, I got this offer, and before this, I knew there was an offer coming because my client said, hey, my friend is submitting an offer through another realtor, right? So I knew they were friends. Mm-hmm. I called the owner, and I said, look, this is a highly suspect employment letter. Frankly, I think it's fake. The credit reports are good. But if this was any other situation, I would say no way. Even if they're offering though they're offering like $5,000 a month for $2,500 asking, whatever, or $2,200, no way we're going to take this. Red flag, stay away. But in this case, you're saying that you guys are friends, and you trust this individual. So I'm just giving you my input. The credit's good. The employment is suspicious, and you have the final say.
No pay stubs?
No, I asked for banking statements though, and once again, the banking statement was highly suspect as well. But so I said, "It's your say. It's your final say." And obviously, we went forward with it, right? We signed the agreement yesterday.
The landlord accepted the offer.
Yeah, and we're gonna send the standard form of lease, the Ontario tenancy agreement, which you need. You can't do without. So that's a quick story, and the point of that story is, I don't necessarily remember the point I was trying to make. It was just a fun story because I just realized there's no way this person makes you can't make there's no way you can make $4,800, $4,400.
What you should do is call your former boss, be like, yeah,
I did.
And what did he say?
He said, yeah, you know. But here's the thing. I also called the other agent, and I said, I was very respectful. I said, ma'am, the credit looks good. I'm going to pass it by the owner. Obviously, they're friends. But I know there's absolutely no way this is a real employment letter. And that's that. And, she never said, no, it is. She at least had the decency to not lie to me and herself on the phone. But she tried to save it a bit. She's like, yeah, but she gets good tips. But it's like, no, she doesn't even get those. I promise you, she doesn't even get tips.
She's Persian? The lady?
But everyone in this is Persian. Everyone is in this is Persian. And just but point being though, this is a sign of the rental market struggling because the same unit would have had, if it was priced well, we would have had more offers. And that's the thing, man. I just sometimes really want to grab an owner by the,
by the neck?
No, by the biceps.
The collar, and just like, give me
no, but like talk some sense into them. I'm like, why put it on the market for a high price when you know the price reduction is inevitable? Like, why go through this dance? Just hit home at the right price. And they're like, always, obviously some owners now are well informed on the strategy. Like, oh, we'll keep it on the market for this. If it doesn't sell, we'll reduce the price. What do you think? And I always want to say, why go through that dance? Is it just a formality? Why do you go through emotions? Just cut to the chase. Let's list it at the price it's worth. Let's not play these games where we price it higher. And we say, oh, we'll reduce the price if nothing happens. Why? Like, why do that? I don't understand this dance they go through. But unfortunately, we have to dance with them sometimes.
Well, you do have to dance with them sometimes. And some people just they think they know better, or they think there's a miracle out there waiting to happen. Or that, somebody is willing to pay them what they want because, they think their price is reasonable and somebody else is just as reasonable as they are and is willing to give them their price. And lo and behold, 3 months later, it's like, okay, let's reduce the price because now we really need to lease it or sell it and whatnot. So sometimes you have to entertain it until they come to their senses, which is unfortunate, but it is part of the process sometimes. So hope you got your dancing shoes on.
I did have my dancing shoes on.
Speaking of dancing shoes, you had an offer presentation recently on a property.
We've already discussed that, haven't we?
No.
Oh, we haven't? Yeah. Long story short, we had an offer presentation and we got the property. Obviously, It's been a highly tumultuous and arduous. Keep that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
New word.
I'll write that down.
It's been a very arduous closing process, and it's not even a week into the closing process. A lot of, threats here and there of court action. But
oh, wow. Okay.
But, you got to weather the storm. And honestly, I don't want to discuss it too much.
Okay.
Because
it's still in the air.
My lawyers have advised me against it. No, I'm kidding. No, it's just still in the air. I don't want to discuss it as if it's a done deal when it's not a done deal, right?
We'll talk about it when it's done.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when it's done. But what's been new? We said we're going to talk about market rent, right? Market rent has also reduced. And obviously, I told that story in part to get into this, segue into this.
Do you have the numbers there?
Yes, I do, sir. Yes, I do.
Excellent.
While I pull up the numbers, though, I just pulled them up.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, rent prices. This is once again a quarterly figure, right? So third quarter, right?
Yeah.
Rent prices have decreased 9% year over year. And then this is for condos only. To be fair,
year over year or quarter over quarter?
Year over year.
9%.
9%. As compared to the third quarter of last year.
Of last year, gotcha.
Yeah.
Q3 2020 to Q3 2019.
Yeah. So year over year, 9%. It's down to 2,249. Once again, this is condos exclusively and not a specific condo type, right? So across all condo types, whether it be 2-bedroom or bachelors or whatever it may be,
right,
down 9% and 9.4 to be exact. And this is the interesting thing. Folks, that there were more transactions than ever in the last, more than the last 5 years. So listing transactions were all in the last half a decade, all-time high. There were to 13,000 listing transactions.
Wait. Are you talking about listings have increased or the number of
transactions?
Actual leases that have occurred.
Sorry, did I say listing? I mean lease transactions.
Listing transactions, which is kind of confusing.
Lease transactions.
Okay.
Are up highest since the numbers I have since 2015, maybe even before that. Lease transactions in the third quarter for condos were 13,000 lease transactions.
Oh, wow.
13,000 lease transactions. Yet the reason the price and the previous year, I actually have the chart here, the previous highest was about maybe 11,000, right? And which was in third quarter of 2019, right? So you might be asking yourself, well, why is it the case that lease transactions are at an all-time high, but the prices are at a low not seen since 2017-18? How can that be? And the answer, to finish, the answer to that question is that there were way more listings.
I was going to ask, how many more listings have come on the market?
So just to reiterate, 13,000 transactions to 23,000 listings. So that's a gap of
23,000 active or new?
So this, no, it was this
23,000
total
active.
Total.
Q3. That's 3 months worth of.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
That's total. So 23,000 listings, 13,000 transactions. Even though 13,000 transactions is higher than the last 5 years, 23,000 listings is not only higher than the last 5 years, but it's double any of the quarters of the last 5 years. Thus, naturally, when you have such a big gap between product on sale and product that actually moved, even the figure for product that actually moved is higher than any other figure for that previous quarters. That gap naturally will induce the price to decline, right?
Well, just over 50% of the listings are leasing. Let's put it that way. Around what? 13,000 out of 23,000. What is that? What's the percentage? 55?
40, I would say. 45. Because half of
13, 26, 45.
I would say.
Yeah, okay. 45% of the available inventory is leasing. So the last highest was when in terms of the number of transactions?
In total, it was 2019 third quarter, which is about, I would say, 11,000.
And how many active listings were there?
Number of transactions was 9,000. Active listing, number of transactions was 9,000. Total listings was 11,000. So
right,
at a differential of 2,000.
That's huge
compared to the differential of 10,000.
Right.
So that's why the prices are declining. It's basic microeconomics. When supply outweighs demand,
substantially, the prices will come down.
It
doesn't matter the number of transactions that are actually happening, despite there being record number of transactions, the number of active listings just brings the prices down, right?
Yeah.
Makes sense. Less than 50% of the units are moving.
Yeah. And that's a alarming sign. And this is for condos once again. So
this is the leasing market in the GTA. A lot of these units that are being leased out, that are available for lease, are owned by investors. And if those investors cannot lease the properties to at least break even, we're going to see this available lease inventory switch over into the sale inventory.
Exactly. Good point,
Ali.
The
sale inventory is going to go up compared to the number of transactions. We'll have to see what the transactions come in at. But I can tell that the number of inventory in the sale market for condos is going to go up as well, which will have a downward effect on prices depending on what the demand is. I don't think the demand will rise quite as much as the inventory will.
For surely not. Not. And that's a very good point you made about how if these individuals who are investing in these condominiums cannot obviously move them because about only 45% of the product is selling, naturally they're going to try to offload the product, right? Which will create influx into the purchase and sale market, creating an inflation within the number of listings for condos, potentially having the same effect, causing condominium prices to further decrease.
Right.
Now, part of the reason I think there's so many listings as well is because of the Airbnb regulations we've discussed previously, where now a short-term rental option is no longer an option. So that's the shift. It's actually the same thing.
Unless they register.
No, not even if they register.
Taxes, yeah.
No, because part of the regulation is it has to be only your primary residence, principal residence.
Oh.
So you can no longer do an investment property and Airbnb and registered it, right? So that's the whole entire thing. Now, a lot of people who bought a condo to Airbnb it out downtown, which brought them great returns in the past, even if it was not a COVID world, they wouldn't be able to do it anyways because the regulations say that you have to be, it has to be a principal residence.
Right.
So now what they have to do with it is say, okay, I can't rent it short term. Guess I have to rent it long term, which caused the big influx into the long term rental market. Right. And the same thing we're saying might happen with condos for purchase and sale already happened from short term to long term.
Yeah. So, given that, you know, Q2 to Q3 prices of the condo market have dipped by 0.3%, which is not substantial, but my hunch is, and so Sam's, that that's just the beginning. Come Q4, we expect the prices to drop even further, and then Q1 of 2021, we'll see what happens then. I don't want to foreshadow what will happen. Because
you don't have any premonitions? No.
Let me look at my crystal ball. No. But we'll see. I think, you know, it's a downward trend until this COVID stuff is past us, or a vaccine comes around and all of that stuff. And then we'll see the markets open up again and immigration open up again. And then that's when I think the demand for the condo market will start to pick up steam quite a bit again. Because a lot of immigrants, when they come to the country, their first point of entry is the condo market, because it's the most affordable, and the entry point is easier for them compared to freehold that starts in, you know, mid 7s, 8s, and up into $1.5 million for detached properties. So the condo market will pick up at that point, whenever that will be.
And this is why I say, I actually want to say that if you're a first-time home buyer, you're not looking for a property to sell within 2 years, 3 years, I think it's a good time to buy in November, maybe even like December, January for a condo, because you're going to get it very cheap compared to previous years. And this is assuming you're not trying to sell for 2 years. In 2 years, you're not an investor. Even if you're an investor, actually, and you're willing to stay on something for like 4 years, you still should buy a condo.
Yeah.
But if you're an investor and you have a 2-year exit plan, or I don't know, I just wouldn't
wait on it. Yeah. 3, 4, 5 years, you're good.
This is the time to buy if it's 3, 4, 5 years. Just gobble up a bunch of shit right now. But no. And also the same thing I would say for end users, as I said right now. And also the same thing I would say for sellers. This might sound interesting to you, but if you have to sell soon, do it right now, because you're going to be even more screwed in a month or two. So it's either now or in 3 years.
Yeah.
And you have to do that assessment yourself. And I'm talking about now, like within the next 2 weeks.
Call him now.
No. I'm saying, like,
call him.
I'm saying if you can't,
now.
if you have to sell within the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, or wait 3 years, because I don't know, maybe it depends on how much you paid off and how much, down you put.
You gotta assess your situation, right?
But I'm saying a lot of owners already know their own situation and financials, and I'm saying if you have an urgency, now is the time. If you can wait, then don't even consider next year. Wait till in 3 years, 4 years, right? I talk a lot on this podcast. I'm already exhausted. It's in the morning. I have to go talk to people.
Save your breath, buddy.
Well, anyways.
Anything else?
Anything new with you before we go? Well, apparently not. Anyways,
no, not really. I'm just working away. I get a few clients on the go.
That's good.
Other than that, no, not a whole lot. One thing, the cottage market is just on fire.
Really,
it's on fire to the point where I had clients that wanted to buy in Toronto, then they switched gears and they want to go to cottage country. So I referred them out to, and I mentioned this in one of the previous podcasts. I referred them out to a person that works in a cottage country. They're active agents up there. just because I felt it'd be better taken care of. And they've recently messaged me back and saying the cottage country market is so hot that we might switch gears and come back to the city, because it's just like the properties are selling for record prices and they're going fast, and not even like, some of them are beat up. So they put an offer on the property and it was accepted. They went in for an inspection and they're like, this property had at least $50,000 in repairs. And we're talking about like a small lodge that was worth, I think it was $400,000 or $500,000. So they're like, it had about $50,000 in repairs. Mm. And we went back to try and negotiate the price down, and the sellers were like, they were shocked and they were upset that we even tried to do that. So they ended up killing the deal and saying we're walking away. And that property ended up selling for, I guess, asking price. True. And so they were shocked that, you know, even beat up, rundown properties that required that much repairs and renovations are still pretty much selling for asking price. So they're like, this doesn't make sense to us. So now they're thinking of switching gears and coming back to the city. That's how hot the cottage market is. So if you're looking to buy a cottage, well, you might want to wait until next year. That's it.
Well, as always, cottages are where you go retire. It's where you go rest to end the day or the month of the year.
You might have to go to the cottage, given how much you've talked. You're all exhausted.
That's true. And speaking of ending things and retiring, we're gonna end this podcast, this episode, retire for today.
Yeah.
In terms of podcast, the day has only begun. It's 10:30. But anyways, as always, this is Sam from Remax and my colleague
Ali with Remax as well.
You can find our contact information in the description. Feel free to get in touch, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. And yeah, your feedback is always appreciated. Thanks for watching.
Take care.